What about now?
Not live.
Okay, why isn't this working? Oh, wait, there we go. There we go. We're live now. I feel like Bill O'Reilly. Okay.
They do be.
Why is it so dark in here? Hi, my name is Winston. Why no signal? Why'd you do this? All right. Somebody email me one of their sketches so I have something to mess with.
I'll
Email me.
then I'll do that.
Email it to me.
See. I sent you mine.
Okay.
It's a bit blurry.
Bit blurry. A bit blurry. All right, there we go. All right, we've got it downloaded. Well, what did you actually take a picture of? Your foot? The sketches are up here. Why wouldn't you center it with the sketches? You're killing me. You're killing me. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. All right. All right. Here's what you're gonna do. All right. Whenever you've got when you open Illustrator, here's what you want to do. You want to go up to File and you want to hit New, and you want to make a new document. Okay. It's not like Photoshop at all. It's very different. Okay. So for the purposes of the demo today, just do an 8" by 8". Color mode RGB is fine. And then raster effects, just hit high, 300 ppi. Preview mode default, yada yada yada. Yeah, just 8" by 8". That'll give us a decently sized canvas, and we can start messing with stuff. Orientation doesn't matter; it's the same no matter what. So, once you hit create, it should. You should get something that looks roughly like this. Okay, I'm gonna go up to Window. Then I'm gonna go to Workspace. I'm gonna hit Reset Essentials, so we all look exactly the same. And I have a couple of things that are way different, all right, than in Photoshop. So Photoshop is a raster-based software, which basically means that it works with pixels. Okay, there are a certain amount of pixels in a piece of artwork. You specify that. All right, that's a picture, that's a drawing that you do, whatever. All right, it's all pixel-based. With Illustrator, it is vector based, which basically means that it's real time, graphic intensive mathematical equations displaying on your computer at any given time. That's different than pixels because it's not an equation that keeps running because it's like a real time thing. So the reason why this is important is that if I go, I'm just gonna make a quick line. Where are you? All right, if I go and I make a really quick shape, close it. Why aren't you closing? Why are you not working?
It doesn't like you.
Apparently not. I mean, the feeling's mutual. I don't like Illustrator either. So, all right. Cool thing about Illustrator is if I zoom in, and if I keep going, and if I keep going, I can go infinitely. I literally keep zooming in. You will never ever see a pixel ever. All right, it's all lossless, which basically means that whatever you do, it'll forever be nice and crisp, exactly like how you want it. All right, it's not rasters, it's no pixels. Okay, so with Photoshop, if I did the same thing, at some point you zoom in, you're gonna see the pixels. Okay, so knowing that, there's differences that you have to do with this workflow. Okay, and it's kind of like, I'm gonna be honest, it's kind of annoying because like you learn how to use Photoshop, and then it's time to switch gears to something that's like theoretically it's the same, but it's just different enough to like be annoying. All right, and that's what most people's exposure to Photoshop ends up being. Okay, so what you're gonna do is after you've emailed yourself your sketches, you should have had enough time to do that by now. All you're going to do is I'm going to click on layers. I want to make sure that that's displaying right now. I'm going to find wherever I have those sketches, and I'm just going to drag it and I'm going to drop it onto my canvas. Okay. Now what this is going to do is it's going to give you the exact like dimension of the picture that you have. All right.
Can you show how to get the picture back on you?
Like how to email it to yourself.
No, like how to. How you put it? Yeah.
All you do is you go to downloads.
No, like where do you click?
What?
Get open up your.
Open up your Google.
No, it's like what thing do you click so you can get to this screen right now?
Oh, the File Explorer.
Yeah.
It's the little file guy down here. So like, oh yeah, I need to click on this. So I click on that, and then I go to downloads because that's where my stuff downloads automatically, and I just drag it and drop it.
Okay.
Yeah, you always do that from the File Explorer. All right. So once you drag it and drop it, you'll notice something funky right off the bat. Okay. If you go up to your layers, you'll notice that nothing changed. But if you click on this little drop down, you'll see that inside of this layer is now that picture. Okay. Very different from Photoshop. You can kind of think of the layers in Illustrator as it's more like a folder. Like it's less of a layer like Photoshop and more like folders. Okay. So I can drag and drop anything in this layer, and it kind of treats it all like separate objects. Some people think that's really cool. Some people really don't like it. It's kind of just like one of those things that's like, you know, you do or you don't. And it's okay if you don't like it, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that you don't like. All right. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this a little bit, position it about here. Now, good workflow for Illustrator is you have to keep as organized as humanly possible the whole time. All right. If you get really far into a project and you're doing a bunch of shapes, or you're doing like a logo, or you're doing anything and it's got a bunch of pen strokes on it, you can get lost very fast. And your layer hierarchy really matters here. Okay. With Photoshop, you can kind of get away with a lot of stuff. All right. That's why a lot of people like Photoshop, because like as long as you're just good at the art part, it kind of doesn't matter with the organization and the tech part. This is the complete opposite. You can completely suck at the art part, but as long as you stay organized and you understand how the tools function, you can make some really competently good stuff. All right. So what I want to do is I want to double click on layer 1, and I'm going to call that template. And then I want to double click on the icon, like the little layer icon. That gives me layer options. And from here, I can name it. From here, I can change the label color on it. I'm just going to keep it light blue because it doesn't matter. And I'm going to also check this little guy right here that says template, right? When I do that, what's it going to do? What it'll do is it'll dim your image to a certain percentage, all right? By default, it's on 50. I don't ever change that. You can if you want to. I guess it just depends on how crazy your reference image is. And then I hit OK. All right. So Illustrator is now teaching this layer as a template layer, and they have it locked. All right. We can edit that lock. We can just turn it off if we want to. But for the most part, when I'm doing stuff and I'm drawing on top of this, I don't want to accidentally select my template layer. I'm not editing this. I'm just drawing on top of it, right? So now what you want to do is with that changed, which, by the way, if somebody could log in to the live and make sure that I am, like, coming in clear, like my mic is getting picked up, because it looks good on OBS, but it looked good that one time. Testing 1 2 test. Can you hear me? Might be a little bit difficult. Okay, wonderful. All right, we've got our template layer. What we want to do now is we want to go down to create new layer. That's that little plus sign with a square around it. Create new layer. You should get a layer 2. All right, double click on this. I'm going to call that line. This is what I'm talking about when you got to stay organized. Like, you got to do it every step of the way in Illustrator. It is a cruel mistress. All right. Now, I think we're ready to get started to get into some of the tools, okay? Now, if you look up at the very top, you've got two different, what do we call these? Arrows, all right? There is a difference, and the difference is important, okay? The selection, all right? We've got two different ones. We've got selection, we've got direct selection. So selection selects entire objects. So if I've got a shape, I'm on the top arrow, I select stuff with it, it'll give me the entire object, I'm moving it, all that stuff. If I'm on direct selection, I can select anchor points and segments of those objects. This matters immensely. Okay, don't get it twisted. So, yeah, if you ever need to select the entire object, you're doing the hollow one. If you ever need to do direct selection and edit anchor points and stuff like that, you want to do direct selection, which is the solid one. Okay? And then directly under that is the pen tool. And directly under that is the curvature pen tool. Okay? Cool thing about curvature tool is, if I just click and I'm making lines, it does the curvature for me. I don't have to sit there like in Photoshop and do that like annoying drag and all that stuff. You go and you close it, bada boom, okay? Now, cool thing about this is that if I go and if I double click on any of these paths, it'll convert it to a non-curvature point. So if I'm doing this stuff and I'm like, all right, I don't need the tip of that to be, you know, whatever, I want that to be sharp, I double click on it and it just turns sharp, and then I can edit this stuff with the curvature. Other cool thing is that if you click on any of these lines and there's not a path here, it'll just add one for you. All right. And then if I hover over it and if I just hit delete, it'll delete an anchor point for me. If you're ever in need of making like a really swoopy, sort of curvy shape, try to do less anchor points. It might help you a little bit better. Okay? You can get some really cool results out of this. If I double click on that, it'll let me do that. You kind of want to think of your anchor points as like the guidelines to tame the shape. Might give you cool results. It might do complete opposite. This is one of those processes where you just kind of have to play with it. Like, you got to just understand how the tool works before you can really get it. Okay? Now, if for whatever reason your stuff is just looking weird, it's not what you want, it might have something to do with your fill and stroke. So we've got two options with every object that gets generated in Illustrator. You know how in Photoshop, like you make like a circle and you have the option to like put a fill on it or a stroke on it. You got the same function here, but it's a little bit more important. Okay, so these colors down here, like before, that's your color palette in Photoshop. Now it's your fill and stroke because it's that important. So if I double click on that, I can change my fill color to whatever I want. And if I switch that really fast, double click, change that to whatever I want, switch it back, whatever, right? And if I ever want to have it be just transparent, I just click on the little icon that's got a slash through it, it says none, and then I can just have it be an outline. Like, it's just stroke. There's no fill on it, all right? That's going to be important, all right? You can use the regular pen tool. In fact, a lot of people do. They just really like, you know, if you like really like how the traditional pen tool works, you can. It's not a problem. But when it comes to like ease of access, I just really feel like the curvature tool just works out better for you. Because I would rather use the curvature tool and then just tell it, oh, I don't want this one to be curvy. I would rather it be straight or sharp than I would to have to do like 90% of it's curvy and then only like one of it I don't have to do that with. You know what I mean? Like, as long as you put your points down at the important shape changes, like you see how it's every corner I'm going to put a point down and then I close it. Why does it do that? Why are you doing this?
You need to click like shift.
You shouldn't. Alright, that's weird. It just does that for some reason. Alright, so once I have these points down, I just double click and I make them sharp again. And then I can add curvature. This is going so much faster. Like, not only is it going faster, but I feel like I'm getting better results.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the important thing when we're dealing with Illustrator is like, this is a very specific tool set made for graphic design, and you should really just use like the tools as intended, I guess I'm trying to say. Like, you kind of have to adapt to it instead of just complaining about it and being like, oh, this isn't exactly like Photoshop. It's not going to be exactly like Photoshop. It's a completely different tool set. All right, so I'm able to get a like perfect outline of what I was trying to get out of this. And it's like right on the money. Okay. The cool thing is I can go and I could select this. I can go to properties. It's right up here next to layers. And I can start messing with stuff. So I can increase the size of the stroke. It's going to be important.
That's actually really sick.
Yeah. No, it just looks good. I could put effects on here. All right. Some of this stuff is going to rasterize. So like do this as like a last step. And make sure you always save copies of it as you go. Ooh, what else can I show you that's really cool? I have so many things. All right, hold on. All right, so we've got the basic shape tool right below your curvature tool. You got rectangles, ellipses, polygons, stars, line segments, all that stuff. For the most part, you're going to be messing with rectangles and ellipses, okay? And ellipses is a circle, right?
Cool name for a circle.
We can make many circles here. Right? Now, here's where Illustrator starts to really shine. So, let's say I want to combine all these shapes together. Like, I want it all to flow into each other. I don't want a bunch of overlapping lines. How would you do that in Photoshop? You'd probably go and you'd make a bunch of circles and then you'd trace over that at a lower opacity. All right, that's annoying and that's going to take forever. Here's the really cool thing that we have in Illustrator. If I highlight all of the shapes that I want to mess with direct selection, no, regular selection, sorry. And if I go down here to this little guy, it looks like a cloud. It's called the shape builder tool. If I click on that, it divides all this stuff into things that it's like, hey, do you want to keep this or get rid of it? So by default, if I just click and drag, it will all turn itself into one homogeneous shape. It is so cool. All right. And if I hold down, Alt, I will take it away. But you have to make sure that you have everything highlighted. All right. If I click on that, it'll like take it away. So you can get some really cool results out of this, okay? You ever see those like graphic design logo breakdowns on Instagram and it just looks like a bunch of circles drawn over each other and then it's like the Twitter logo or the Apple logo and it's just like a bunch of concentric circles and it makes up like popular logos? This is kind of the way that they do that, okay? They're using geometry as a way to add and subtract logo designs, okay? No, you don't have to do math for art because Illustrator's doing it for you in real time. You don't have to do any of that. Okay? Really cool. Alright? So that's the shape builder tool. You can make a lot of really cool stuff out of that. And then what's even better is if I go to direct selection, all of these are now converted to anchor points that I can mess with now. What came before is no longer there. It just works. Right? This is what Todd Howard wishes he could be. The only thing is I don't think I can put the curve... Oh, yes, I can. If I switch to curvature and I start double-clicking stuff, it'll just work. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. It's so good. All right. All right, what else? There is a really important thing here. All right. It's going to blow your little minds. It's going to be great. So let's say I've got a design and part of it just has to remain a line, right? Like this isn't going to be a closed shape. It's going to be a stroke, all right? It's just going to be a pen stroke, all right? I don't like this rectangular end. I want to change that, okay? If I go to this little guy down here, it kind of looks like a jester cap. This is what's referred to as the width tool. If I click on that, and it gives me the option to go anywhere along my path, I can go and I can drag it out, and I can affect the width anywhere I want. All right? I can artificially make this as if it's a pen stroke. It's so good. It's so good. Sometimes you'll get these like weird little bits. That's just because you didn't go all the way to the end. You got to make sure that you go all the way to the end so that it doesn't give you those like weird artifacts. And you can get a really sharp pen stroke out of this. And I'm pretty sure you can still... I should be able to. Yeah, you could still directly select this stuff. It's not advisable to do that. You kind of want to do the width tool like when the general shape is perfect and you just have to do those like ends, those like sharp ends, and maybe you want the middle of it a little bit fatter than everything else. That's where the width tool shines. Okay? It's really cool. All right, so those are the basic shape tools. Now, here's what you guys are gonna do. Using those processes, I want you to kind of like recreate those logo sketches that you did yesterday and you've sent to yourself. Bring it in as a template, trace on top of it, and then just play with it. That's all you gotta do is you just gotta play with it. All right, break things, make it not work, do all of that. All right, the only way that you're really going to learn with Illustrator is if you get super frustrated with it and you're like, okay, how do I fix this? Because it's better to do that during practice than it is like in the middle of a huge project and you're like, I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. I'm not doing this. Fail me. That happens a lot. And frankly, I'm sick of it. So, try that. Play with it. Once you get done with that, we'll talk more about it. We'll probably talk about color and all that tomorrow, because the process of coloring stuff in an Illustrator is very different than you think it is. You have to make a whole new layer, and you have to put it underneath your line layer, and it's shapes. It's not paint bucket tool, it's shapes. So a lot of people have a lot of issues with that. So we'll get into that, and yeah.